After a teacher models the final paragraph in the process, it's time for the we do portion of the gradual release of responsibility. When I'm training teachers, we first review the norms of collaboration, a strategy by thinking collaborative. We follow these 7 norms of collaboration to get the most out of our collaboration and our discussions. Sharing these same norms with your students will set the stage for a productive time of collaborative learning. It will also teach them social skills. The first norm is pausing. Allowing think time after a question has been asked is an important skill in class and in relationships. Pausing gives time for processing and can enhance dialogue, discussion, and decision-making. That's why we pose each question first to our students and then allow wait time. My wait time with my students includes having them jot their answer in their notes. Then, when I call on a student, especially one that hasn't volunteered to answer, I don't hear, "I don't know." I remember Jane would say, "Well, what would you say if you did know?" That's always a good teacher response. But when I ask a question and they write it down, I'll say, "What did you write for your answer, Jasmine?" This technique provides equity for sharing answers. Teaching students the practice of pausing and having students write down their answers first teaches them to pause and to think before they speak, an important life skill. Paraphrasing occurs when a listener acknowledges the speaker by paraphrasing or summarizing what the speaker said in a brief statement. The speaker feels heard and can determine that the listener understood what the speaker's message was. Paraphrasing is not used to parrot what another person says. We say it in our own words to make sure we understand the other person's thoughts or questions. It assists members of the group to hear and understand one another. This norm is important among teachers and students and can be very beneficial in parent-teacher conferences. There are 2 intentions for posing questions. One is to explore thinking, and another one is to specify thinking. Questions may be posed to explore perceptions, assumptions, and interpretations and invite others to inquire into their own thinking. For example, what might be some outcomes we are envisioning? And that's a question we could pose in a workshop or a focus question such as, which student specifically does this apply to? Or what might be an example of that? What we want to do is to increase the clarity and precision of group members' thinking. Inquiring into the ideas of others is an important collaborative skill before advocating for our own ideas. If our job is to teach students to be thinkers, teaching them to ask questions before jumping to conclusions is a great life skill that will serve them well. Sometimes a question is more important than the answer. Putting ideas on the table is a favorite one of mine because ideas are the heart of a meaningful dialogue with teachers and students. For example, you might say, "Here's one idea or one thought I have," or "Here is a possible approach." And in class with students, no matter how many times I teach a lesson, when my students feel comfortable putting their ideas on the table, I always learn different perspectives about the lesson and about them. Teaching students to respect each other's ideas promotes innovation, teamwork, and citizenship. Providing data, both qualitative and quantitative, in a variety of forms also supports group members in constructing shared understanding from their work. Data has no meaning beyond that which we make of it. So shared meaning develops from collaboratively exploring, analyzing, and interpreting that data. With students, too, if they are privy to their data, they can embrace the need for improving a skill. For example, having students using a rubric and scoring anonymous students' work allows them to understand why they are making the scores they are making, leading them to improve their own writing habits. Also, allowing yourself and your students the time for qualitative feedback makes for a happier and closer-knit environment. Paying attention to self and others is an important norm with adults and students. Meaningful dialogue is facilitated when members are conscious of themselves and of others, and are aware of not only what they are saying, but also how it is being said and how others are responding. This includes paying attention to human uniqueness when planning or facilitating and participating in group meetings. Responding to others in their own language forms is one manifestation of this norm. We need to pay attention and always be careful of how we respond to others and pay attention to ours and others' responses. This norm not only creates a great learning environment, but also works well with parent-teacher conferences and our relationships with friends, family, and colleagues. Finally, presuming positive intentions, that is, assuming another person's intentions are positive, promotes and facilitates meaningful dialogue and eliminates unintentional put-downs. Using positive intentions in your speech is one manifestation of this norm. And when we teach our students this attitude, we're developing future leaders with optimistic mindsets as opposed to doomsday thinking. As you plan your lessons, you might consider one norm of collaboration on which you and your students can focus. Sometimes a certain lesson lends itself to a certain norm. Or you might ask your students as they become familiar with the norms, which norm of collaboration do you think we need to work on in this class today, students? And then focus on that one. The 7 norms of collaboration serve to lead a workshop, a collaborative session with your students, or a one-to-one conference with a student, a parent, or an administrator. They help us to have productive dialogues and considerate lives.